So my name is Adeline Wrona. I'm a professor at Sorbonne University, and I teach journalism, history of journalism, and the question of media.
Okay, very good. So first of all, I would like to ask you about 19th century and your idea of regulation of journalism, of social media, of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, because of hate speech, defamation, yes,
Okay.
and things like that. So. The example from 19th century, France in this period was a country of anti-Semitic propaganda the most. So there were a lot of newspapers which wrote bad things about Jews,
Yes.
and etc. etc. But we know that Germany was a country who invented a Holocaust, and what do you think about it? Maybe it's okay to express negative thoughts, ideas, and even hate speech, and without any bad consequences. Yeah.
Well, it's true that at the end of 19th century in France, we had a lot of anti-Semitic newspapers, and it was mainly during Dreyfus affair that it became really a problem. But the thing is quite complicated, because when this anti-Semitic press developed, there was also a strong opposition, and some people started to fight against that in France. And it's because of their fight that Dreyfus was finally judged not guilty. And in Germany it's quite different, because in France there was an anti-Semitist press, but the government was never in this kind of meaning. In Germany, in the 30s, it became a state politics. It never happened in France before 1940s with the German occupation. So there was an anti-Semitic press, but there was another press which fighted against, like Le Figaro, a very ancient newspaper which does exist still today. The Figaro published the article signed by Émile Zola against this press. So the country was divided, and it was never as a whole anti-Semitist. And I think that the moment of the end of 19th century was very useful in France to show what was wrong, what was dangerous with freedom of expression. And it became important to get limits for freedom of expression. So everything wasn't possible, because after the end of 19th century, it began to appear some laws in journalism. So I think that everything is not possible for hate speech.
But as for Charlie Hebdo, this law will limit the freedom of expression.
No.
Cartoons and mockery, religion.
Yes, but when you compare what Charlie Hebdo publishes today and what was published at the end of century or 19th century in France, you see immediately the difference. It was much, much more violent, and it was much more against some private people. Some private people, I mean individuals.
Wow.
It doesn't exist today in this way, even in Charlie Hebdo.
But now Charlie Hebdo, we can say criticize government,
No.
religions.
Yes. But Charlie Hebdo is protected by the government today. Charlie Hebdo is protected by our laws.
But it's not a hate speech.
Charlie Hebdo?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Because Charlie Hebdo never asks to kill someone. What happens in Facebook or what happens in 19th century France.
But in Russia, maybe yes, everybody hears maybe every day I will kill you or etc. etc. and nothing happens.
You mean everybody hears that in the street or in the media?
Or in families.
Oh yes, but it's not the same. It's really important to make a difference between what you say in your family in the street and what you publish. For me, there is a very ontological difference. When it's published, it's public. When it's in your family, it's not the same. I mean, violence is not good anyway, but it's not the same.
Have you heard about Piotr Pawlensky case? He moved from Russia to Paris and he burned a Bank of France. So what do you think about his action?
He burnt what?
Bank of France.
Ah, yes?
In Paris. Bank of France.
When?
It was 1 year ago maybe.
Ah, yes?
Yes. And he was imprisoned. Have you heard about this case? No.
No.
And he tried to make a court process opened.
Okay.
And argued with the judge and discussed with him and etc. etc. He wanted to express himself, his ideas, and etc. But
I never heard about that. It's
Okay.
interesting. Because he was anti-capitalistic or what? What did he want to show?
it was his performance.
Ah, okay. It's an artist?
No. He
An activist?
activist, yes, art activist.
Activist.
And he would like to show the power of money, not power of people,
Okay.
not freedom, equality, and
Okay.
brotherhood.
Okay.
But
I never heard about that.
but okay,
Okay.
you can't comment. And would you say tell some words about general interests? How to force people to defend general interests? Social media violate, and what does it mean? General interest.
Well, I think it's not possible, and that's not wishable either, to force people to fight for a general interest. But it's just that it would be good that people would be aware of general interest, and that people should be conscious that their interest is not individual, is not always individual. And we see that in France now with the protests of the yellow vest. So I think that we could improve that, but not force people, not by forcing people. Just showing them the consequences of these social medias.
And your idea was to find social medias as Facebook, yes, and to force them pay taxes.
Yes.
To create independent medias.
Yes, that's my idea that, well, social medias are companies, and if they earn some money in France, for instance, they should pay taxes in France, and these taxes should be used for what the French citizen decides that is good for them. I mean democracy, and democracy means diversity, information diversity. So, but I think it's going to happen because now we had a European law and maybe an international law for forcing them to pay taxes. Yes, I think that taxes is a way of building democracy. Yes.
I saw several debates on French TVs, and somebody told, but a lot of people said that there is no democracy in France. Do you agree with it?
No. Are you Russian?
Yes.
Okay. Because we have a question with Russian media. We have I think it's a problem with Russian today.
Yes, but it's not about Russian media, it's
Okay.
about France.
No, okay. Well, we have a debate about democracy in France, yes. Because a lot of people have the feeling that they are not represented by institutions and by journalism. And they put both institutions together, I mean political institutions and media institutions. But the problem is that people don't go for voting, they don't vote. So yes, we have to invent something different, but our problem is not that someone is taking power. It's just that the power doesn't represent people. Well, they don't feel represented. Well, I think that you have to interview Laurent.
Yes.
Because we have to leave after that to
Yes.
have dinner.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.